Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show. The Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts is proudly sponsored by the Global Wellness HQ community. It's an online membership group where we meet, we share ideas, we share insights, and we all work together and help one another discover our own personal wellness journeys. If you'd like to join us, you can easily click the link below or scan the QR code, and we love hearing your stories. So we hope to see you in the community. Hi, everyone. I'm excited. Today we're here with Megan Meyers. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeff, for having me.
So, Megan, first of all, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do and why you do what you do?
Sure. So I am a 20 plus year entrepreneur, really a lifelong entrepreneur. I had many businesses as a child, but professionally 20 plus years. I'm an author, I am an online business owner, and I am a busy mom of two. So in a nutshell, that's me. That's what runs my day-to-day life. And professionally right now, with my business Shine Online, I essentially help people turn their expertise or passion into a freedom-based virtual business like I did for myself over 7 years ago.
I love that. So let's talk about the pivoting point. Now, first of all, I know you sent in the notes that you were an NFL cheerleader. What team were you cheering for?
Oakland Raiders. I am from
Oh,
the Bay Area. Yes. So I was a
oh,
Raiderette for 2 seasons.
excellent. Just fun random fact. So,
Yeah.
um, tell me about your life before. So you were running dance studios, and then what was the aha moment where you thought, I can take this online? And then we'll talk about the software you use. But let's talk about that moment where you realized that life could be different.
Yeah. So I started a dance studio when I was 18. Teaching fell into my lap and it just evolved into like running a studio, starting my own studio when I was 18. And I owned it for 14 years, and I was a proud workaholic running the local business, equally passionate about learning about marketing and sales. So I was always, actively growing my business that whole time, expanding my team, expanding the space, expanding our offerings, and very much a proud workaholic. Loved every second of it. And that changed around about 2015. I was pregnant with my first child, and some of the moms at the studio sort of gave me a little bit of a heads up, like, Megan, your priorities might change a little bit. And at the time, I was very gracious about receiving that advice. I'm sure, to their face, but internally I thought was very, the feminist in me was very offended by that. It's like, heck no, I love my career, I love my business, no baby is going to change that. And I could not have been more wrong. Mother nature be damned.
Yeah.
As soon as that baby was there, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to step into this new phase of my life as mom first. But that pivoting moment was I didn't want to give up my career. And at this point, my high school sweetheart husband and I had been running the studio together. It was our sole source of income. And so it wasn't like we could just totally close the studio and so it was like, okay, how can I solve this problem? So I want to still own a business. We still need to be making money. That's just a reality. But I want more time at home with this baby. I want to be the mom I wanted to be. And so I thought the solution was I had this program. I said I'm, obsessed with marketing this whole 14 years of running my studio. And I had this program called Princess Ballerinas, which is like my Mona Lisa, I consider it. Very marketable systems, just like if Disney designed a dance class experience, I like to think that this is what they would come up with. Okay. And so it works on many levels. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to just get rid of all the other classes we're doing, adult Zumba, competition dance teams, just all the different age groups. And let's just do Princess Ballerinas It's, franchise prototype model, and we will just open up a few Princess Ballerina locations. And even though that's more work, it's simple in the sense that it's one thing that we're very focused on. And so I hired a consultant to help me do that. And on our very first call, she said, well, why don't you just package this up and share it with other dance studio owners, around the world? And it was like, light bulb.
Why don't
Yeah.
I?
Why don't I? And of course, imposter syndrome so totally set in. I was this local dance studio owner. Who the heck am I? I have no pedigree to do this. All the stuff everyone says when the idea is planted in their mind to kind of get into the info space or expert space or whatever. But my desire to be that stay-at-home mom, it was the perfect solution, because I could take those past 14 years of experience, still my passion for dance, but I could move into the online space. This could totally be done from home. It could totally be done online, move into the digital space. So absolutely, I went full speed ahead. And 6 months later, I ran my first Facebook ad and had about 1,400 studio owners download a free sample of my lesson plans. I very humbly followed up with them and said, would you like more of these? I have 36 of these little themed lesson plans for my Princess Ballerina dance program. And I had 150 studios, give or take, jump on at about $50 a month. And I was making, Jeff, more on a monthly basis immediately within those first 30 days, sending out a monthly PDF of my lesson plan to 150 studio owners, than I was running a 7,000 square foot brick and mortar studio with a staff of 10 and all the expenses and all the volume and, hundreds of students.
Well, and I'm going to guess there was absolutely zero stress involved with running the bricks and mortar, right?
No, yes, exactly. Constant stress. As fun as it was, it's people and it's moving parts and it's physical life, and there are always fires to be put out. Always. So yes, I fell in love with this online business immediately. It was a paradigm shift. It was a day and night transformation. And a year later, it was so good though. I didn't even really tell anyone in my personal life about it at first, like, close friends and family, because I just felt like, oh, this is too good to be true. Kept waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
And by 6 months, I'm like, okay, people are staying. My numbers are growing. They like this. I think this is real. I think this has legs. And then it was another 6 months. 6 months later, I ended up selling my studio and just doing online. And I've been doing that for over 7 years.
Wow.
And the other shoe has still not dropped. It's continued.
And I'm just going to guess here. You don't need to give me numbers, but I'm going to guess that with COVID, you took a little dip, but I'm going to guess you're flying high right now, and everybody's recognizing, holy crap, we cannot be dependent on the geography anymore. We need to be online. Is that fair?
Yes and no. So COVID actually spawned sort of a new business for me. I would say the dance studio market, no, they hated being online for the most part, teaching students online, and parents and children, they want to be in the studio. The
Yeah.
virtual thing, no, it is not as good. That is one niche that will not go full digital. And that's fine. So
And I just want to clarify, you said full digital, so I'm guessing they've found some good in the digital. Is that fair?
I think some have. I think the majority went running and screaming back to their just traditional model. Kids walking through the door, teaching dance, year-end recital, boom. The original works. And there is something to be said. It's a very social environment. So
Yeah.
it's not about learning to dance. That is actually the least important part. It's the kids coming, it's the physical fitness, it's the friendships, the moms chit chat with other moms in the lobby. It's a community, and that really cannot be replicated in the same way with children online. So
Yeah.
most studios are back to and there certainly are some studios who, created digital classes and are thriving and are loving it, because I think that opportunity certainly expanded with COVID. Now, for me, a lot of studio owners, what I do, I didn't start teaching dance online. I started sharing my knowledge with other dance studio owners online. So that's the space that is interesting for a lot of studio owners who see what I did. And that's who I help with something with Shine Online, is helping people move into, maybe not do the exact same thing, but take that knowledge, that passion, that expertise, and turn it into a virtual business. So there's certainly, in the dance industry and many, many other industries, the great resignation is just ripe for that, for people wanting to not go back to the commute, not go back to just everything that that entails, whether you have a brick and mortar business or, you know, just a traditional job. And how can I take that passion, that expertise, and do something from home? And there's a lot of work from home opportunities, but the step further is starting your own business from home. And so that's what I do with Shine Online. So this is the new business that was born for me out of COVID and helping other people because the demand was there. And here I am 7 years deep into doing this and just so excited and happy to help other people. Because I think pre-COVID, it was really kind of weird to
Yeah.
have an online business where, I mean, millions of people do it, but
People looked
relatively
at you like you
speaking,
were somehow afflicted or contagious. It was
exactly. So I think more people are open to the idea and the desire is there. And now, you know, we're all very comfortable on Zoom. And so it's really been an explosion of a lot of people wanting to move online, whether it's a job or starting their own business. So, and I am so happy to help people do it because it is such a paradigm shift. You know, going from whether you're a brick and mortar business or with the commute, with the job, it's like you get rid of all of that. It's like wide open space with a virtual business. You can be you, you find your people, you can truly have your passion or your expertise be on I mean, almost any subject. It's incredible. And authenticity wins, you know, and so you can truly be yourself. And there's so many ways it can take shape. So it's truly a paradigm shift. And I love helping people step into that because it's so liberating. It's so exciting. It's so limitless. And that's endlessly exciting for me to help people move into that.
I love it. Now, for my listeners, I'm just going to say this. I don't say this often, but you're going to want to replay the last 10 minutes or however long we've been talking. I think there's at least 37 amazing points on how to run a business from Megan. And I just want to highlight that, Megan, because it's just amazing when somebody is doing what they love, you just effortlessly share it. And I just want people to pause and reflect because if they hear it so effortlessly from you, they might walk by it effortlessly and miss it. So I just love that. Now we're going to pivot slightly because I'm going to guess that there was something that made your transition to online easier than other things. And then I want to wrap up with, we're going to talk about the book and the network. But let's talk about the technology. I know a lot of people are intimidated by it. How did you go about making that transition?
Yes. So, you know, I'm very lucky. I use the platform Simplero, which I know you also use, Jeff. And I'm lucky in the sense that, you know, I didn't spend a lot of time. And now in this space, helping people move into creating their own online business, I see that this is a place people spend, I mean, sometimes years. They think they're working on their business by making this like 2-year decision on choosing their platform. It's like, you're just delaying. Sorry to break it to you, buddy. You are, you know, this is called procrastination is what
Yep.
this is called, and it's probably, you know, masking some sort of imposter syndrome or some sort of deeper issue, but it can be really easy. So I was lucky in the sense that I found Simplora right away. I think I probably like searched out like simple online business or, you know, something like that where I'm not a tech nerd in the sense that I don't geek out on all of the bells and whistles. I don't like to hang out in chat rooms talking about my tech stack. I don't care. I want the result. I want to be able to share my product with my customer and spend as little time possible doing that. Because again, let's go back to why I started my online business. It was because I wanted to be this step into this, you know, phase of motherhood. So at the time I had this brand new baby, I am, again, that is, I take no enjoyment from making, you know, my constant contact link up with my WordPress website, link in with a Zapier and zapping here and I don't care. I don't care about any of that
And
stuff.
then
So,
somebody updates something and everything crashes and you're like, oh, starting over.
right. And also I find a lot of people talk that's like, oh, I don't want to spend, you know, $100 a month or $200 a month for software. It's like I laugh at that. I was coming from, again, brick and mortar, paying $7,000 a month in my rent and probably $20,000 a month in my staff expenses. So to think that I've been making over, you know, multiple six figures a year with no staff and my overhead is my couple $100 a month Simplero account. I'm like, please, people, you are tripping over pennies, you know, or tripping
Yep.
over the dollar, whatever that saying is, you know,
Tripping over tripping over dollars to pick up pennies, I think.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. That's the one. And that's exactly what's happening. It's like, just so for me, I didn't have any of those issues. So I found Simplero right away, and it's, all in one. I love that. So I have my website on there. I do all my products are on there, my blog, all my landing pages. So I use a very simple business model for my Princess Ballerina business, which I run a simple Facebook ad to a sample of my lesson plans. Studio owners go to that landing page. It's in Simplero. They say, yes, give me a sample. Then they get, emails from me. I also use Simplero for that. And it's all in one. And I keep my business very, very simple. And I essentially have a subscription business model. So people who want more, they start paying for it every month. And I send them a lesson plan, new lesson plan once a month via email. I mean, that's very, very simple, but I love that it is all in one place. And that has definitely made it very easy for me. And my biggest thing I love about Simplero is that my customers can access their content easily, because if they were having trouble, whose problem is that ultimately? Mine. And I would have endless customer service emails. And the dance studio owner market, a lot of them are not tech savvy. So that's a true testament of Simplero's, just beauty and sophisticated elegance, is that I've had over 2,000 studio owners use it for 7 years. And I mean, I never have any issues. Everyone gets their stuff, no problem, which then again is another leverage point, another freedom point for me, because I am not endlessly dealing with any customer service issues ever.
So bricks and mortar people, I'm going to interject with my bias. I don't care what business you're in. There's something that Simplero can make your bricks and mortar business better. My very minimum is to have your client onboarding and sort of have that journey, so that when they come to you, if they need to fill out forms, it's in one place. If they need to watch a video, it's in one place. I just love the standardization. And, I work with a lot of professionals, and they're like, oh, every client's different. No, they're not. They start as stranger. It's just lazy to not plan out the journey. So what were some of the
Yes.
big lessons business wise that you learned going online? What were your big aha moments or oh crap moments?
I mean, I thought it was going to be totally different. I thought, oh, I'm going to go online. And I signed up for all the courses. I've just bought all the $2,000 courses from this guru and that, the $1997 courses, I should say. It's never 2000.
Yeah, it's never 2000.
1,997. Um, and thinking I was going to this different world, but I had spent those 14 years, immersed in sales and marketing and a lot of direct response marketing. So Dan Kennedy fan and all of that. So very much direct response marketing to grow my studio. So come to find out, oh, this is all the same. This is all the exact same. So that was definitely an advantage for me starting my online businesses. I had 14 years of, hardcore direct response growing my dance studio. It's the exact same model online. It's what works. It's how things are sold online. It's how things are just sold everywhere. It's just,
Yeah.
and so have been surprised to find out how it's the same. Also, a local dance studio, you think it's the same because we live in the same community, and they come in, moms talk at the playground, and that's how you get a new student, is it's a referral from the playground, or, chatting after school. And I thought online would be totally different because I'm serving this international market. I've all 50 states have Princess Ballerina customers. I've been in 10 countries, and I've been
Wow.
surprised to find out, no, people everywhere are the same. It's the same as my little local dance studio as it is having this online business with 2,000 customers from around the world. Studio owners, we're the same. We
Yeah.
have the same hopes, fears, especially in the niche space. And ultimately, you're selling to people. You are the same skills that worked for me to get friends on the playground in kindergarten are the same skills I use now to bring in a customer or meet someone to network with. It's people helping people, people connecting with people. So I've actually been surprised that it's all really just the same.
I love one thing and well, I love everything, but the one thing that really stands out to me is you didn't once say the algorithm. You're not relying on whatever algorithm, and I think that's where most online people fail, is they forget that their customers are humans, and
Hmm.
so they game an algorithm with which optimizes for bots and things. And I think a lot of people dismiss Dan Kennedy because he is so old school, direct marketing, and the reality is that stuff works just as well online. It's just cheaper, and you've got more options. As an example, you talk about the moms standing around at school. I have friends that they're part of mommy groups, and it's amazing, that community.
Hmm.
And they will welcome their own, but if they sense a stranger who's there to sell them something, God help you, they will run you out of town.
Exactly. And all of this stuff is true online or offline. And it's all the same. So, you mentioned Simplero for brick and mortar. So in 2019, when my son was going to school full time, preschool full time, I finally found myself with all this time, and I kind of got the itch to teach a brick and mortar class again. So I found a little space I could rent by the hour, and I said, I'm going to start my own princess ballerina class again. And I used Simplero because it's like, now it was like taking what I had learned online, even more going deep. And now I'm very much into choreographing the customer experience, which I love, which is so easy. It's easier to do online because it is so systemized. It's a little harder to get, Martha at the front desk to greet people exactly the way you want her to, and then have the teacher. You can do it, and I did it, but it's even easier to have that email response go out on the day one. And then
Yeah.
number two. So what I did when I started my brick and mortar class again in 2019 is took all that. And like you're saying, I just had my Simplero account. It was all branded Princess Ballerina. And so I created this new sales page in there for the class. And then when parents joined, they got this beautiful email automation that was like, what does your child need for class, and introducing, hi, I'm Miss Megan, and here's what to expect at the first day. And again, it just helped me to choreograph this beautiful customer experience, which I'm very passionate about, whether it's online or offline. And so I was able to do that even with my, now brick and mortar class, which again then got shut down again January 2020, when we know what happened. But
Yeah.
to your point, the same tactics I brought back from the online world back into the brick and mortar world, and just heightened that experience even more.
Yeah. And what I like about Simplero is you can find the rough edges, and you can use communication to sand them off so that people aren't, getting snagged on it. Like it's just about making it easy for people, number one, to be a repeat customer, but number two, to come back. And, you know, believe it or not, I've tried to systemize a couple of clients who run fitness facilities, and a lot of them are, they're retired artistic types, and they rail against systems. Like, no, 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 you're not going to tell me what to do. And it's like, well, then you can't complain to me that your staff call you at 11 o'clock at night because you ran out of toilet paper, and you're the only one who can go to Costco and buy some.
Exactly. Yes. So Princess Ballerinas is a very systemized program. And so I run up against that also with dance studio owners. Again, very artistic, creative types, and teaching people there's so much freedom in systems. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to scale my Princess Ballerina program when I thought I would be opening multiple locations. Is there's I those fires are greatly lessened. Sure, there could always be occasional emergencies, but when there's a system, and it's like everything, the classes run better because the kids know what to expect. We always do sort of this order. It changes, the flavor changes,
Yeah.
but so class actually moves very, very, and I'm talking about 3 and 4 year old kids. Okay. So
Herding cats.
herding cats, but not with a princess ballerina class, because they know what to expect. And so it flows effortlessly, which makes my life as a teacher, it's fun. I'm not, doing as much sort of disciplining. I'm enjoying the class along with the students. And then as a business owner, there's that marketing system out there, that Facebook ad is running automatically behind the scenes. I'm not having to like wake up on Monday, be like, oh, great, I got to do some marketing because I have to make payroll by Friday. You know, it's
Well,
like,
you usually, Megan, people wake up Thursday and holy crap, I got to make payroll tomorrow.
exactly. So it's, these systems actually are very liberating. But the thing is, if you have this marketing system that's selling this experience, I want to be in integrity and have that be the experience my customers, as the studio owner, are actually experiencing. As the marketer, I can, sing a pretty tune, but if they show up and, well, the class starts 15 minutes late and that wasn't
Yeah.
what she said it was going to be, obviously that has detrimental effects. So I am a major fan of systems, and it makes the customer experience better. It's better for the staff, and as the owner, it's totally liberating because things are under control, and for the most part systems work.
Well, and the reality is, I have two boys. Kids appreciate structure.
Yes.
They might push back against it, but at least they kind of know. My kids hate surprises. They don't want to all of a sudden, oh, guess what, we're going away for the weekend, you're going to leave your toys and we're going to go do something that's boring. Like, kids like to know what's coming next, and
Yep.
you'll get way more compliance and participation than if everybody's milling around going, well, I'm bored, so I'm going to do this.
Right. And I think people like to know what to expect. So whether you are offline or online, that's why I love systems also, because, and that's a lot of what I do with Shine Online. When I'm working with a client, traditionally, I specialize in helping people start their first online business, but that's a lot of what we're doing is taking, who they have become. So oftentimes they are moving from brick and mortar or career, and they're not just a dance studio owner anymore. After, those 14 years, like the case of me, you're now this dance studio expert. So what I'm doing is helping people step into this, who they've become. The outside is not matching the inside. But that's what we're doing, is really making everything consistent, from the branding to that, that customer journey, from that freebie to that entry level product that lets someone get a taste, to those, upper end offerings for the customers who really, fall in love with you and what you do. And it's seamlessly integrating all of that. And, that consistency and knowing what to expect, whether it's like I send an email every Friday and telling people that breeds trust. Marketing, we endlessly hear about that no, like, and trust factor.
Yeah.
That is what establishes trust, right? So, you say what you will about McDonald's, you know what you're going to get when you show up. You
Yep.
do trust. It's maybe not going to be great, although I personally love McDonald's, but it is what it is, and it's always going to be the same, and that's why it's so valuable. So that really does, it's something that I think is oftentimes overlooked, but it's a way we serve our customers, is having that consistency, and that lets people know what to expect and lets people know they can trust us. It helps us be in integrity all the time with what we're doing in the world, and systems are basically the only way to achieve that consistently over time.
So I'm going to challenge my listeners to go back and count how many times Megan said the word system. I think there's a message there, and for the record, Megan, they hear it from me a lot too. Um, systems feel like work today, but future you will always write you a thank you letter. Whereas if you don't do the systems, future you is really going to hate today you. So,
Right.
um,
Well, and the thing is, a lot of people are not systems people. Their brains don't work that way. And so that's what I found. I think you are obviously a systems guy. I am a systems gal, till my dying day. And so that's what I help clients with. Like, I bring people who, they have this vision, they have this talent, they have this passion, they have this expertise. You don't have to figure out all your systems. I'll do it for you. And that's why it's like every client that, you know, I start working with, the thing I hear the most is, it's such a breath of fresh air. I'm so glad I found you, because I don't have to now figure this out.
yeah.
They know they need all of this stuff. Their brains don't work that way. So it's like, how about, this is my favorite thing. It's like, you get to do your magic, I get to do my magic, and together we become this, superpower and create something amazing. So I think that's the great thing. If you're sold on systems, you just need a Jeff or a Megan in your life
Yeah.
who, it's like, it's funny. I hear people talk about systems like it's a drag. It's like, it's the most fun thing in the world. I was born to organize. I was born to plan. It's my art. I consider it art, and it's endlessly joyful for me. So
Well, and the word that's going through my head is, when you think about dance, and I am not a fan of ballerinas, in that I don't have girls, so I have two boys. They don't want to be ballerinas. I love watching the professionals, but the one thing I know about dance is there's always this word called choreography.
Yep.
And that's the thing, if you were dancing and everybody just went out and did what they felt like at the moment, it would be chaotic and ugly, and somebody's going to get hurt.
Right.
That's the exact analogy of systems. You're choreographing how your business runs so that everything, you can have that grand finale and you get the standing ovation at the end.
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to think about it. And I think the word choreography helps creative types get excited about systemizing things
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, you get to do design,
Yeah.
right? You get to design the experience. You get to design your offering. You get to design your brand. These are all just systems. And that's great fun. Again, it elevates it from something that's like kind of cold and operational to something that's artistic,
Yeah.
which it absolutely is.
And I think that's the reframing I do with a lot of my clients is this is not something I'm doing to you. It's something we're doing for you.
Yes.
So, but I do get a lot of pushback because people are like, oh, my staff won't follow this, or, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm that one business that it doesn't work for? And I say, you know what? If you're that one business it doesn't work for, we should probably pull the plug anyways.
Right.
You're just suffering right now, but there is so much, Megan. You are an amazing energy, and I really, really appreciate it. um, Tell me about the book, and then I want to know how people can get in touch with you. And yeah, I could talk to you for hours about Simplero, but I promise I won't today. So
Wonderful. Yes. So I wrote a book called Shine Online, long tagline, how to start a successful virtual business and gain the freedom and flexibility to live your best life now. And it's essentially a blueprint for creating a freedom-based virtual business like we've been talking about, like I've done with my Princess Ballerina business. But I not only take people through the steps on sort of like, so I use my shine method. Shine, S is simple. I'm a huge proponent of keeping everything simple, from your business to your products. If it is too complicated, that's when people get stuck in analysis paralysis. That's when people just think it's the tech that's holding them back. It's they need to lose 100 pounds. They need to be this. They need to be that. It's like, no, when we keep it simple, we work with what you have. A lot of my products I made with my iPhone, and they have made tens of thousands of dollars a year, multiple six figures in some cases. I use very simple tools. iPhone, okay, iPhone. Um, PDFs. So the S is simple. The H in the Shine method is harnessing, the power of the internet. We're all on here, right? Everyone you want to talk to, everyone who could be served by your product, they are online. And then I teach the method for how, building a value ladder, sort of the customer journey, how that whole like lead magnet model works, because I think people recognize these things, but I sort of spell it out in a really simple way that connects those dots. And this is how you can harness the sea of, millions and millions and millions of people online. How do you find your people? So that's what I cover in H, harness. I, in the Shine method, is identifying what you should offer. In this great sea of things in your experience of life, you have some passions, you have expertise. Now we explore in that chapter, where does that intersect with what you could maybe offer to people with a virtual business? And so that's that whole identifying and bringing in the reader to exploring that. And that can be, sometimes this is the first time people are exploring the idea. Sometimes it's like, I've been wanting to start an online business for 5 years, but I don't know what to offer. So it doesn't really matter. That chapter is taking people through that journey to figure that out. N is navigate. So N in the Shine method is navigate. And that's really, I give a full step-by-step on what the steps are you need to go through. I do talk about Simplero a little bit because that's what I've used. It's fun and easy. It's what I recommend. But I also list out, okay, if you're going to search the other platforms and do some research, make sure it includes these things. So it's a very specific chapter on a checklist of what you will need to get your online business going. So very practical. And then E in the Shine method is empower. So we talk a little bit about imposter syndrome, which is so common. Most people I work with, a lot of women, it's a who am I to do this? And so we tackle that head on because, again, authenticity wins. Your people want to hear from you. And that's what's so amazing and beautiful about the online space is we all get to, there's a place for anyone who wants to be there. And so that's what that chapter is all about. So the book is available on Amazon if anyone's interested in checking it out, but that's what it's all about. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, Megan at shineonlinenetwork.com is my email.
Awesome. Well, I will ask one final, and this is the tough question. You're the expert at Megan. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't?
We covered a lot of ground. No, I feel complete. This has been a lot of fun. I love talking about the brick and mortar. Love talking about Simplero because it is such a game changer if you do move online. I got to share about sort of the beautiful opportunity for people to move into the online space if there's something they're thinking about doing, whether they're, brick and mortar or a career or they're already online. One thing we didn't talk, oftentimes I find myself making the either or argument, and there's also a and argument to be made. I think if you are in a career or you are brick and mortar, adding that online business as a new revenue stream because it is so simple. I very much could have had my studio where I was very successful, and then had added my ability to leverage what was working in my studio and share it with other dance studio owners and had to be this new multi six-figure revenue stream. I mean, I've never worked more than probably 4 to 6 hours a week on my online business. It's been very, very, very part-time for me. It just so happened that I was at a place where I had this new baby, which, is all consuming, and they're little dictators and completely consume your time
They
and don't care
scream
about it
at
at
you
all.
every time you displease them, right?
Exactly. And so for me, being able to replace my income with working very, very part-time was very attractive. But if I had, in a different situation, I could have absolutely done both, and it could have been an and situation, not either
Yeah.
or. So that's one last thing I'll throw
And
out there.
I'll second that. And, my favorite thing is for those people who are complaining about their jobs and they're whining about how life sucks and they wish they could go back to working from home. I always say, well, why not start a part-time business? Like you don't need to spend hours on it. You could just, if you play the piano, put some piano stuff on. Like it's whatever you're
Right.
passionate about, put it
The
on
side
there.
hustle, the side
Yeah.
hustle. Many a great online business starts off as the side hustle, which is a great way to do it too, because it's very liberating that way. If you were to just quit your job and it's like, okay, this thing has to now feed my family of four, we're all going to die. That's a lot of pressure. You're not
Yeah.
going to be making the best decisions under those circumstances. So by
Well,
starting off as the side hustle or keeping the main business, like I did, I kept my main business for a year before I felt
yeah.
good enough. I was able to start the online business in a way that was I could make all the decisions that were right for me and do things. You have more peace of mind, and
Yeah.
it's a lot less pressure.
Well, and you mentioned, and I see this a lot, people are worried about the price of the software, which, it's between $100 and $200 depending on your package. And
Hmm.
it's like if you're worried about paying for that software, you're going to be really worried about feeding your kids. So keep the day job until you see the side hustle.
Right.
But the other thing I would say is I've yet to meet a bricks and mortar business. I don't care what industry they are, that can't benefit from having an online presence. And just as a random thing, John Stanton, the founder of the Running Room, he scaled his business to 200 locations by
Wow.
teaching running classes.
Wow.
And this
Amazing.
was, back in the day. This is the old analog days. You paid $50, you showed up at the store, and somebody handed you a printed, badly photocopied thing that was, stapled together. But any
Incredible.
business can be more powerful by having that recurring revenue. And I
Yep.
like that it pays the bills so that you can afford to be innovative and try new things.
Yes. And there's so many ways to do it. I think even just to grow your if I had a brick and mortar studio now, I would absolutely be running ads to like a free introductory class online. So even if I didn't have it as a revenue stream, there's so many ways to use digital products, digital experiences, so if families could try, because that's, speaking about the dance industry, a lot of people are like, oh, will my daughter like it? That's like the big, is she ready? So if they could download this little 30-minute free class where they could do it at home and see if she's going to participate. And then what? They're seeing me have it with my passion for dance, the way I'm engaging with the camera. They're of course, where are they going to go after
Yeah.
this? We're like, oh, little Susie, she's really doing it. She likes this. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to the studio down the street to some stranger? No, they're coming to Miss Megan because now they've done this video. They've fallen in love. They feel this connection. You know, the child now and now they come in and it's like you're like this celebrity because they saw you on their TV, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like, think about the power of that. And I would be doing all of that in Simplero. That would be to grow a local brick and mortar business. So that's an example of not necessarily I need to have dance classes that I'm, you know, teaching children in Japan, but that's a way of creating a digital product and a digital experience that is building my local brick and mortar business. That's absolutely what I would be doing if I were still in the brick and mortar space.
Yeah. And one thing I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and they pushed back really hard because they were young and they're just starting out. And I said, I hate to tell you this, I'm 50. If you're in a role where you're physically active, at some point you slow down. You know, at some point your balance goes. So you need to focus on, you know, going from being the commodity that's consumed in the business to being an actual business.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, most entrepreneurs don't make that transition, and then they're older going, you know, the back goes, the joints go, and they're like, "Whoa, now what do I
Yep.
do?"
Absolutely. Leverage is my favorite word in business. So early on, that was with employees, and then systems was another leverage point. And then I think having the online space with digital products, I mean, the ultimate leverage trigger, you know, because yeah, you don't know any of us could get sick at any time.
Yeah,
I mean, look at COVID. Life could change. Your kids could be home all the time now, out of nowhere.
yeah,
And so not having you be the only one to do all the things all the time is really important. So I think yeah, absolutely every business needs these leverage points, whether it's you know, staff or digital products. Really will help you sleep at night. Let me tell you.
awesome. Well, Megan, I can't thank you enough. It was a real pleasure to get to know you and hear your story. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.